Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the brand new Artisan Cutlery Arroyo. Very cool. Sporting the new AR-RPM 9 powder form steel. Now, most of the time, just as a quick introduction, most of the time people look at Artisan Cutlery in combination with CJRB. Artisan's the parent company, right? CJRB is the budget end, Artisan Cutlery is the upper end, and then they've got a few models floating around in between. This is actually priced more like a CJRB, which is really cool. So if you're thinking that this knife is overly expensive, no. It actually isn't. At the time of this recording, I do have links for this knife, so you'll be able to find it down there in the description if you're interested in picking it up. This is pretty cool. This was sent to me directly by Artisan Cutlery, so thank you so much for providing it for review. And thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, there's a link right down in the description. And please follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. All right, let's go ahead and by the way, I'll link Artisan Cutlery knives in general down there too, so you can see what else they've got going on. Overall length of the Arroyo, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, coming in at just shy of 7.5 inches. We're looking at something like 7.3 inches overall. Blade length is coming in at about 3.25, and your cutting edge is also, because of the shape of the curvature of the blade down here, is also coming in at about 3.25. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. First up against the Ontario Rat. There you go. You can see it's about a medium-sized knife. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and Para 3? You can see here that it's actually pretty similar in overall length to the Spyderco Para 3, but it has quite a bit more cutting edge. And handle profile, the ergonomics from here back are pretty similar. So that's kind of nice. And last but not least, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. So you can see there it's kind of right in between these two. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check on this guy. We'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very recommendable and very inexpensive. You can find them right down in the description. As per usual with Artisan Cutlery, I didn't show it. I think the pivot is actually a T8. So we'll go ahead and check that here real quick. Yep. And then the body screws are going to be T6. I don't need to test that. I know those are T6. Same with the pocket clip screws. So, okay. Pretty minimal hardware. So if you're going to be taking it apart, be careful with those T6 heads, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see it's actually just a little tiny bit thinner than the Para 3. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here that it is actually shorter in handle length than both the PM2 and Para 3, and nowhere near as tall, even including the flipper tab. So that's nice. It's not going to be something that's overly cumbersome for most people. Let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness here real quick. Yeah, we're going to stay. There we go. That's a pretty thin, I'm going to say max, that's 120 thousandths, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's more like 115 thousandths. Blade stock thickness, oh, very, very thin blade stock, so that's nice. We're going to talk about edge geometry here in a little bit. How about the inside of it here? You can pick up my flashlight down in the description. We do have milling on the stainless steel liners, so that's nice. Micarta and pretty thin steel, so probably not going to come in too heavy. I'm going to say it's right around the 3 ounce, maybe 3.5 ounce mark. There you go, 3.28 ounces. I think that's just fine. I don't have a problem with that, and I know most people won't either. Let's go ahead and move into the review. So this is a flipper knife, and Artisan Cutlery really doesn't have any trouble with flippers. Honestly, this has fantastic action. It's running on ceramic bearings. The flipper tab is nicely knocked down in shape, so it's not going to be uncomfortable. The edges of it are a little bit sharp, but truthfully, where you're going to be engaging it to flip, yeah, it's fine. You can do this all day. There's plenty of room, engagement to the with the liner here. You can see it's cut out, and then you've got plenty of room to get in there and move it out of the way. No double clutch, nice and smooth, and click, right? And then the snap and the action, if you want to do a light switch or if you want to do more of a push button, it's fine. It's exactly what I'd expect from Artisan Cutlery, and plenty good considering this does not come in, it's not an expensive knife, right? Here's something I love. Now, this knife actually does come in a few different forms. I have the micarta version here, but it also comes in G10. I think you can pick up gray, black, and natural G10. I think. I know natural G10 for sure, and the other one's either gray or black. Maybe there's some other colors. I don't know. You can choose G10 or micarta. As far as texturing on the G10, I'm going to guess the G10 ones are smooth. These the micarta ones, this is not smooth micarta. It's a little bit textury, and I kind of like that. It feels exactly how it looks. Like, I don't know what another material would be that's similar, but it has that sort of textury, sort of grippy feeling to it, and that's nice. I like that. As is the case with all my micarta knives, they're going to pick up hand oils and liquids and fluids and stuff like that, and they're going to sort of be darker or lighter in some areas over time. But you can scrub micarta out pretty easily. You literally can just run some soap and water over it and just scrub it out, and it'll be like new. That's fine. That's the nice thing about micarta. I kind of like how this looks. I really have been enjoying micarta lately, especially this sort of earthy, natural micarta look. And the liners ever so slightly shadow box the scales, which adds a nice effect, as you can see, just the slight outlining from the polished liners. That's nice. I like that. It's a little detail, kind of a silly one to get hung up on, but I like that. It highlights the micarta and makes it look really good. On top of that, my camera really likes this micarta for whatever reason, and I think the background is helping it too. But man, it's just a good looking knife. Nicely knocked down on the edges so we don't have any sharpness or awkwardness anywhere, truthfully. And in hand, yeah, I wear an XL glove, which I think my hands are pretty close to average size. XL glove doesn't mean XL hands. It just means, in my opinion, a normal size hand, right? Yeah, so if your hands are like mine, you can get a full grip. If your hands are a little smaller than mine, you'll be a little bit more comfortable, but you can get a full 4-finger grip on this guy. People with truly XL hands, you might be slipping off the end. Pocket clip, I wish they would do more of it. Like the CJRB Rhea had a perfect clip. It was like a thinner version of this, right, without the spoon shape where it comes down, small rise. This comes straight and then dip and then straight. So I can feel the clip. You know, if you're going to do continuous cutting, that clip's going to bother you a little bit. Fine for, doing its job, holding the knife to your pants pocket or wherever it is that you're, equipping this. Yeah, you're going to feel it just a little bit. I wish we saw just from here, drop, and then swoop, right? Maybe a little bit shorter. But it's pretty good. I'll give the pocket clip like a B. What does that mean? What's your grading scale based on? Whatever. I'm giving the clip a B. On the blade here, we do have satin finish, which, okay. A lot of knives in this territory have satin finish. It makes them all look the same. I like to see tumbled finishes, different, stuff like that. I'd rather see a tumbled finish. But whatever. Some people like the tumbled finish. They have their logo right there. On the other side, it has, unfortunately, a whole bunch of stuff. SER dot, I'm assuming that's serial number 184.5P. AR RPM 9, which is fine. That's the steel. I think that's fine that that's there. And then we've got the Dirk Pinkerton design. Honestly, you could have just put that and the steel, right? We have to see China down here. This is made in China. Do with that information what you will. I'm going to keep showing knives from all over the world. That's how this is going to work on this channel. This and this. That's all we need. But that's on the blade, so okay, right? As far as the blade itself, we've got functional jimping up here. It's interesting how they did this. They actually jimped either side and then left it flat in the middle. It does work. You're getting traction right here, so that's fine. We have a flat that carries out about 50% the length of the blade, and we have a huge swedge on this Persian clip point, I guess is what I'm going to call it. It looks good, honestly. This isn't generally my style of blade, but the lines all go together. The curvature looks good, right? Very pointy tip, definitely. Going to be good at puncture tests, but it's not going to be ultra durable, so don't pry with the knife. Shouldn't be prying with any knife, but if you do it with this knife, you can expect damage to the tip. Don't do that. Behind the edge. Freaking laser beam. Holy moly. This is a slicer for sure. AR RPM 9 is essentially powder formed 9CR 18 MOV, which I've come to learn over the last few months is actually a pretty decent steel for this price range. This is stainless, and because it is powder formed, you get even particle distribution. So it basically just takes all the qualities of 9CR 18 MOV and makes them better. Get decent edge retention. It's easy to touch up. It's reasonably tough, and it is stainless. So that's cool. We don't have very many powder options in what I'm going to call budget territory, which this knife definitely falls into. So yeah, AR RPM 9 is a we should be welcoming that steel with open arms. Absolutely, I think that's fantastic. Keep doing stuff like this. AR RPM 9, on CJRB stuff and Artisan Cutlery stuff, and keep it priced low, and that's going to make people really happy. We do have a sharpening choil down here, so that's nice. Honestly, the blade should be pretty easy to touch up in general, so that's good. The pivot looks great. The hardware looks great. You do have a cutout here that is meant to, as a mounting position for people who are going to carry this left-handed, though it is a right-handed liner lock. Honestly, I'm right-handed, but manipulating this thing with my left hand is plenty easy. You just kind of have to, it's more of a pull instead of a push because of where your thumb's going to be positioned. But you can see here, as somebody who's right-hand dominant, I don't have a problem manipulating that with my left hand. Some people don't like seeing the cutout here. Honestly, I forgot it was there until just now when I started talking about the pocket clip. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I'd rather it be set or nested into the scale than sitting on top of it, because then, because we have a situation where the screws are on top of each other, that keeps it from wiggling. So that's great. I hate wiggly pocket clips. I hate wiggly anything. Get it right, get it tight. Oh boy, well that's in the review now. Anyways, yeah, that's the way to do that. Got a couple of nice looking standoffs back here, and they do that little swivelly lanyard barrel thing. That thing should move around just a little bit. You can put a lanyard back there if you want, and if not, it just looks like another standoff. So that's a nice way to do that. The pocket clip screws are recessed, so that's nice. You're not going to be fighting that in and out of the pocket. Truthfully, in and out of the pocket, this thing's a breeze. This is a little bit rough. It'll wear down and smooth out over time as you pull it in and out of your pants. It's probably not going to fray up your pockets too bad. And it does do a good job of keeping the, keeping the knife clipped to your pants, and it carries absolutely deep. So it's pretty good. The way that it's shaped, I can feel it when I'm holding on to it. The knife locks up totally reasonably at 50% or so, and there is no blade play up, down, left, or right. We have an exposed stop pin, and there's no rounding on the back here, but that's fine. The lockup feels nice and solid. Action's nice and smooth. This isn't drop shut, but it is smooth. I'm not feeling any inconsistencies, no surface imperfections on the inside. Listen to me throwing all these fancy words at the action, because basically we're at a point now where it's really difficult to describe the difference in action between a knife that's running on ceramic bearings and comes in at $60 and a knife that's running on ceramic bearings and comes in at $200. Basically, what I'm saying is that when I measure the quality of the action on the inside of the pivot, I just am looking for no inconsistencies in the quality of the surface, right? I don't want to feel bumpiness. I don't want to feel like the blade's getting hung up in certain places as it comes out, right? Doesn't matter to me so much that it's falls shut, because I've felt knives that are falls shut, too, son, that have bumpiness or grittiness inside of the pivot, and that just feels like crap, right? I'd much rather have something that's more controlled and feels consistently smooth, which this knife does very well. Boy, that was a weird cough. The knife is perfectly centered, and that makes me happy. Is it? Let's get a nice close-up. Boy, if it is off, it's just a hair. On knives honestly, on any knife, if it is a little bit off center, you just crank on the pivot just a teeny tiny little bit. And I've got a video on how to center your blade. It's fine. It's not rubbing, and it's so close to center, I just can't count off for it. So, let's recap here. What do I like and not like about it? Edges of the flipper tab are just a little bit sharp, but no big deal, right? Would have liked to see a tumbled blade, but that's a personal thing, so again, no big deal. Some people are going to like this aggressive, well, not really aggressive, this Persian-style clip point is what I'm going to call it, right? And some people aren't. I think it's going to be great for day-to-day stuff. I think it's a pretty versatile blade. Some people are not going to like this cutout right here, whatever. It's got T6 screws, wish it was T8, no big deal. Pocket clip is a little bit of a hot spot, not that big of a deal. Mostly just nitpicks, just little nitpicky things. The truth is that this knife is extremely recommendable. I like this. When they showed me a picture of it, I know people, think like, you're so positive. Like, there's so many good reviews on your channel, right? Why isn't there so many? I couldn't tell you guys the amount of knives that I'm not trying to flex, but the amount of knives that I turn down. I like being positive. I like showing you guys knives that I think I'm going to like and then being able to recommend them. I've looked at many knives where I'm like, no, right away from the picture. And then some knives I get in hand, I look at them and I think, wow, I hate this. And then it goes back because I know that if I do a review, I'm going to have to be super negative about it. And I don't want to do that. I want to show you guys knives that are good, right? Not every knife is perfect. In fact, I don't think any knife that's come through this channel I've ever called absolutely perfect. I always have little nitpicks here or there. But yeah, that's really all I can do here, is offer some little nitpicks and, they're personal things. So overall, this knife is extremely recommendable. This knife comes in at between 60 and 70. A couple of the links that I'm going to provide down below, I think there was a variance in, I don't know. But right there in that price point, is this recommendable? You bet it is. I have no problem with that. I think that's great. You're getting some nice quality. This is a beautiful knife for 60 to 70 bucks, and I love that steel. I think it's excellent. Day to day, this is going to be a great choice, and it's going to be easy to carry. It's nice and fairly thin and lightweight for what it is. So yeah, absolutely. Check out the Artisan Cutlery Arroyo. I think it's very, very excellent, and I think it'll make you guys happy for sure. That's going to be pretty much it today, guys. Be sure to check out Artisan Cutlery knives in general down in the description. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.